Hello, fifth graders. Today we're going to go over 3 types of word problems and how to multiply whole numbers by fractions. So the first one, number 1, it's word problems based on how to add 3 or more fractions. So number 1, it says Martin went to the county fair last weekend. When he got there, he had to walk 2/9 of a mile for the car to the entrance. Then he walked 1/9 of a mile to the carnival rides and 5/9 of a mile from the carnival rides back to the car. How many miles did Martin walk in all? So basically what's happening is from the car to the entrance, he walked 2/9 of a mile. And from the entrance to the carnival rides, he walked 1/9 of a mile. And from the carnival back to the car, he walked 5/9 of a mile. So we're trying to find an all, which is basically telling us to add up all of these fractions. So 2/9 plus 1/9 plus 5/9. So what we learned is that when you have like denominators, all you have to do is the like denominator becomes your final denominator, and then you're going to add up the numerators. So 2 plus 1, 3 plus 5, which is 8. So your answer should be 1/9 of a mile. Make sure to include units. Simple. And then the second word problems is how to add and subtract mixed fractions. So this time we're dealing with mixed fractions. So the first one, it says Ruth, a pet store employee, wants to fit 2 fish tanks on one table. So 2 fish tanks on one table. One fish tank is 1 1/8 feet wide and the other is 1 1/8 feet wide. So they're the same length. When placed next to each other, what is the total width of the 2 fish tanks? So you're trying to fit one table, 2 fish tanks. I'm trying to measure the total width of the 2 fish tanks. And we know both of them are 1 1/8. So we want the total width, so what you have to do is add them. Now when you're adding mixed fractions, so separate the whole numbers and separate just the fractions. And the whole number will equal to 2, and just the fraction will be 2/8. So your final answer is 2 and 2/8. So you're taking these and adding these and getting this. Make sure to simplify those, so it should be 2 and 1/4. So it should be 2 and 1/4 feet wide. Don't forget the units. And then the other ones, you just have to determine whether to add or subtract. For number 2, there's an error. It should be how much more did the red grapes weigh than the green grapes. And then multiply fractions by whole numbers. So we're going to go over 2 and 3 together. Number 2 says 7 times 4, 8. So yes, 7 times 4, 8. So now we're multiplying fractions to a whole number. So this is the fraction and this is the whole number. So technically your whole number can be rewritten as 7/1 times 4, 8. This is equal to this. So 7 is equal to 7/1. So when you're multiplying fractions, you just have to multiply numerator and multiply denominator. So change 7 to a fraction and then multiply the numerator and then the denominator separately. So 7 times 4 is 28. 1 times 8 is 8. So you should get 28/8, but we're going to simplify this. And we're going to simplify this by 4. So it should be 7/2 is your final answer. So number 2 is 7/2. So now we're going to number 3, 1/12 times 1. Well, we know anything that you multiply by 1 to will always be equal to this. Will be equal to 1/12. But I'm going to show you how it looks when you're actually doing it. So 1/12 times, so we're going to change the 1 to a fraction, so it's 1/1. And you just go multiply the numerator, multiply the denominator, and we'll get 1/12 as your final answer. Pretty simple. Now the last word problem is multiplying fractions by whole numbers, so it's based on the one we just did. So number 1, it says last week Leon spent 8 hours watching television. Christina watched television for half as many hours as Leon did. So this is the keyword, half as many hours as Leon did. So how many hours did Christina spend watching? So we're trying to find how many hours Christina watched. And she watched half as many as Leon did. So the word as here indicates you have to multiply. So when you're trying to find half as many as Leon did, then you're doing half as much as 8 hours. When you do that, you're multiplying it. So you're basically doing half times 8. So we're going to change 8 into a fraction, 8 over 1. And multiply the numerator, multiply the denominator. And 8 divided by 2 is basically just 4. So if you also think about it logically, it makes sense because Christina watched half as many hours as Leon did. So if Leon watched 8, that means Christina had to watch 4 because 4 is half of 8. So that's basically what you did over here. You did half times 8. So keywords is as, which indicates you're multiplying. So how many hours did Christina spend watching television? She spent 4 hours. And that's it for today.